Honorable Philip J. Pierre, Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, Economic Development and the Youth Economy, and Minister for Justice and National Security, members of the Cabinet of Ministers, Minister for Home Affairs, Virginia Albert Poyot, Honorable Virginia Albert Poyot, Mr. Auguste Degazon, Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Isaac Solomon, the Vice President of Operations, Caribbean Development Bank, Mr. Martin Baptiste, Divisional Chief, Social Sector Division, Caribbean Development Bank, Ms. Lanesia Nicholas, Legal Counsel, Caribbean Development Bank, Ms. Esther Rigobert, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Paul Hilaire, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Development and the Youth Economy, Dr. Elizabeth Bailey, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Mr. Thomas Leos, Chairman of the Board of the Youth Economy Agency, officers of the St. Lucia Fire Service, Board of Directors of the Youth Economy Agency, staff of the Youth Economy Agency, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant good morning to you. And thank you so much for being part of this ceremony. It is indeed an auspicious occasion, followed, of course, the debate in the House of Assembly last week, and following the development over the past few months. We have been keeping very busy at the Youth Economy Agency, but we do have a television and do take a minute to see what's impact on the work that we will be doing. To kick us off this morning, it is my pleasure to introduce the chairman of the board of the Youth Economy Agency to deliver our welcome remarks, Mr. Thomas Leos.
This ceremony, though brief, marks a very special occasion for the Youth Economy Agency. It's an occasion, when it has gone through all its stages, will enable YE to significantly scale up its offerings to the young people of St. Lucia. This is what the funding from CDB will enable YE to accomplish. It will enable YE to significantly increase the pool of funds available to extend loans on very concessionary terms and grant financing, to qualified applicants. Our target is 450 loan applications in the next 18 months and about 2,900 grant applications in the same period. So like I said, a significant scale up to what we've been doing so far. The CDB funds will also enable YE to increase by about 200% our complement of business development officers in order to enable a more rapid review of loan and grant applications. You hear 200%, you may think it's a big figure. We only have one BDO at the moment. So it's just two more persons we're adding to provide support and to enable us to really push through the applications. The funds will also enable it to increase the staff complement in the Training and Development Department. The department is one person right now, so we'll add one more person, provide support, to enable YE to deliver and monitor various training and development programs simultaneously. As it is right now, because of the constraint, we have to make sure we do one program first, finish it, then start another one. But if more persons on board, we can do perhaps one in the north and another one in the south at the same time. Yeah? It will also increase the staff complement in the accounts department to enable us to speed up the disbursement process for applicants whose requests have been approved. Again, the accounts department is one person. So he's already wanting to put in a request for medical support. He has carpal tunnel syndrome, the amount of checks he has to write, The CDB support will enable us to add the services of an ICT officer. Our communications officer kind of functions in a capacity, our MC this morning. Yeah? So we'll get some help in that department. Also, a field officer to more consistently measure and monitor the progress of grant and loan recipients. A procurement officer to make the purchases of goods and services for qualified applicants a more seamless process, because we don't issue cash to the recipients, so we do the purchases ourselves. Yeah? We will also be bringing on a monitoring and evaluation officer to ensure that YE is delivering on its mandate. The grant component of the financing from CDB, thank you CDB, there's also a grant component, just a loan. That is money that YE is not required to pay back, amounts to a little over 1.2 million EC dollars. Can we get a round of applause for CDB on that? Yeah? Yes, so a big thank you to CDB for that. But of course, we're expected to be accountable, responsible, and judicious in the use of that funding. Not because it's free, well, it's an investment, I would say, that we can just spend it willy-nilly. Yeah? The grant funding will enable YE to engage the services of a financing specialist to strengthen YE's capacity to evaluate and conduct risk assessments of financing applications. The goal of this activity is to maximize the probability of the entrepreneur's success and to minimize delinquencies and non-performing loans. The grant funding will also enable YE to engage the services of an environmental specialist to engage in the development and strengthening of environmental, social, and gender safeguards, monitoring and evaluation, grievance redress mechanisms, and building resilience to climate-related and other shocks of the business enterprises YE supports. The grant funding will also enable YE to implement a psychosocial support program. I remember the PM mentioning that about at least 3 or 4 times in his presentation last week to the House. The broad outcome of which is technical assistance and the enhanced institutional strengthening of the YE operations to provide psychosocial support, mental well-being, and referral services, and logistical support to trainees engaged under the YE project. The grant funding from CDB will also enable YE to engage the services of a social and gender specialist. The aim of this technical assistance is the enhanced institutional strengthening of the YE operations and staff capacity for socially inclusive and gender-responsive analysis, impact assessment, and the application of social and gender safeguards among youth enterprises. We have a burning platform in St. Lucia. The needs of the young people of St. Lucia are many. The needs of the young people of St. Lucia is urgent. We expect with this collaboration that we are about to formalize and forge with the CDB will enable YE, and by extension the government of St. Lucia, to fulfill the needs of the young persons of St. Lucia in very short order. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. And just to build on what Mr. Leon said, we currently have over 1,000 applications in for grants, and I think probably about 500 plus at present applications for loans. We've serviced over 200 grant recipients, and we've done training for approximately 200 young people in business development, business planning, that is, as well as digital marketing in the north and the south of the island. So in terms of impact, we have been very impactful with the resources that we presently have at our disposal, and we expect that with our expanded staff complement, we will be able to do so much more to help support and uplift the young people, and in particular, the young entrepreneurs of St. Lucia. So at this time, it is my pleasure to invite the Vice President of Operations from the Caribbean Development Bank, Mr. Isaac Solomon, to deliver a few brief remarks. Mr. Solomon.
Sakafet St. Lucie. I normally take this opportunity to show off the fact that I lived here for 8 years. I'm really pleased to be here for the signing of these loan and grant agreements between the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, and the government of St. Lucia for the Youth Economy Project. This is a pivotal moment. It marks the official sealing of our cooperation to increase the economic participation and engagement of the youth population who are between the ages of 15 and 35 in business enterprises in St. Lucia. The Youth Economy Project is transformational in that it is designed to expand access, opportunities, quality services, and financial investments for delivery of significant value, enhance productivity, and positive outcomes. This is groundbreaking, and I'm confident in saying that. We are enhancing our collaboration with St. Lucia at a time when the Caribbean region is facing intense pressures in realizing the collective aspirations of our people for a cohesive, equitable, and stable economy and society. A project of this nature is a pioneering and timely intervention, carefully designed to drive youth economic empowerment, support the continuation of investment and capacity development in youth-led enterprises within the MSME sector, to reduce youth unemployment and increase social resilience. I'm also pleased to say that socially inclusive and gender equality opportunities and approaches are at the center of this project. This will ensure that all services, investments, and operation address the diverse needs of men, women, boys, and girls. In other words, the Youth Economy Project targets vulnerable groups, irrespective of their sex, disabilities, geographical residence, location, religious, or political affiliation. The Caribbean Development Bank continues to perform a critical role in helping our borrowing member countries like St. Lucia to navigate many of their development obstacles, increase access and opportunity, and promote sustainable development. It is within this strategic focus that in response to a request from the government of St. Lucia, the Caribbean Development Bank appraised and approved the Youth Economy Project with the mission to reduce poverty and transform lives through sustainable, resilient, and inclusive development. Indeed, the CDB is your regional indigenous bank, development bank, and trusted partner, providing the necessary investment and technical support to build social, economic, and environmental resilience. The CDB financing of $6,276,000 United States dollars, including a grant of $466,200 United States dollars, is a critical resource that we are extremely pleased to be able to provide for this youth-centered initiative. In the last few months, we have strengthened our partnership with the approval of $34,380,000 US dollars for St. Lucia since January 2023 in development financing, including co-financing commitments from the government. And of course, you'll recall St. Lucia hosted the 52nd annual meeting of the CDB right here. So I'm more than happy to be back here in this significant signing ceremony. I would also like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the partnership with the Youth Economy Agency, the project executing body, the St. Lucia Social Development Bank, and the Ministry of Finance. We remain committed to going along this journey with you as you continue to transform your economy and society by investing in the economic empowerment of our young people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. And now for the signing.
This one I grab you with the jabata. Me, I no get time, I did that, bada. Dada cover my face, calling me like bada. Biggie man, we know they wear a bada. Tell me, my nigga, what's it gonna?
And as we mark this landmark occasion, it is my absolute pleasure to call to the rostrum the Prime Minister, Minister for Finance, Economic Development and the Youth Economy, and Minister for Justice and National Security, Honorable Philip J. Pear, to address us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Finister. Yesterday I was at a ceremony and I said to my colleague, the Minister for Commerce, she asked me whether I had any notes. I said, no, I had no notes. So she said, well, I would speak from my heart. I said, no, because if I speak from my heart, I might say what I'm not supposed to say. You know, when you speak from your heart, you sometimes speaking from your heart can get transformed into pillow talk, right? So I said, nobody knows what pillow talk is? So I said, I would speak from my heart and my brain. Let me confess to you that this ceremony or this project is an economic venture, but to me it's an ideological and philosophical venture. And I make no bones about it. I make no bones about it, that there can be no economy without people. And this youth economy project, to me, is an economic, but it's an ideological position, which we have to be able to marry the economics and the ideology. And to me, this whole process, this whole invention of the Youth Economy Agency is a philosophical indication of where this government stands, where people are concerned. I make no bones about it. I'm not afraid to defend it, because I know in the final analysis, the people will benefit. And this is why I took some very strong positions that were misinterpreted. And people always misinterpret things they don't understand. And I always give time for people to be able to get to an understanding of what they may believe is basically wrong. Number one, location. I make no bones about wanting the Youth Economy Agency located in premises in Castries. I make no bones about that. The Youth Economy Agency must be accessible to the people of the country. And you cannot have somebody coming in from the south of the country to take 2 buses to get any service. So it has to be in Castries. And regardless of whether we believe it's in Castries, not in a good area, what makes an area bad is people. And I can assure you, that may sound rather simple, and this morning I warn you, I'm going to be lengthy. This might sound very simple, but the very fact that you can locate such an important office in a location where people think that's where them people are. You know, in St. Lucia, we've got a them people thing, them people. You can locate it in this area. Shows a philosophical shift in that you can bring services to people and people can access these services. And I can assure you, the people in that area are very, very grateful that this office is located in that compound. And they're going to guard it. They're going to guard it once you respect them. Once you treat them like regular human beings, they are going to guard it. Once you give them the little side jobs that comes out of an agency like that, they're going to guard it. But if you scorn them and you hold them in contempt, they're not going to guard it. They're going to guard it. So number one, the location. You may say, what does it have to do with a loan of $6 million? It has a lot to do with a loan of $6 million. Because a loan of $6 million will have to be repaid by people, not me. My taxes will help. But the people of St. Lucia are the ones who are going to repay the loan of $6 million. So they have to have buy-in. You have to have people to buy into the concepts that you think are good for them. It's a long time we believe we can tell people what they want. Like we can tell young people where they must go to work. We must tell young people what jobs they must like. We must instruct young people and tell them, not allowing young people to make a choice. And this is what the Youth Economy Agency will do. It will give young people a choice so that they can get involved in businesses and in enterprises that they want to get involved in. Things that they like. We are tired of telling them, do this, do that, do this, do that. And when they do not do it, we say they are ill-disciplined, we say they're lazy, etc. But have we given them a chance to choose what they want? And this is what the Youth Economy Agency will do. To give young people a choice. Let them say, I want to be a footballer. I want to play basketball. I want to play music. I want to write poetry. All I need is $2,000. And I want you to give it to them. But we can't tell them, because you don't want to go and do a degree in economics or you don't want to go and do a degree in history, that you are useless. Or because when you went to school you did not get CXCs, that you have no say in the world. No, we can't. And you in the agency, you must be flexible. You cannot afford to have the same principles of commercial banks. And I make no bones about that. You can't expect a young person, 19 years of age, 20 years of age, 21 years of age, who is just entering a business, to have land paper, to have salary slip, a history of employment. A young person, 20 years, experience. How can you tell a young person who wants to be a footballer or basketballer, he must have experience? We must take a chance. We must take a chance. We took a chance on a racetrack in Vieux-Fort. So we can take a chance on our young people. We will lose some. Of course, we will lose some. But they must be disciplined to know and to understand that when they've got a loan or when they've got a grant, they must be accountable and they must be disciplined. And this is why the psychosocial training, and this is why the training in the mind. Because the greatest movement of a man comes from his mind first. That's where it starts. It starts in the mind. It doesn't start on where you come from, or where you were, or where you live, or what you were. It's from your mind. And this is why the psychosocial support. This is why the gender-based education, the gender-based education is so important in this venture. We have to work on people's minds. Too many times, we don't understand what a bad experience can do to somebody. Many times, we don't understand how useless talk can disrupt people's careers and disrupt their whole lives. Many times, you don't understand how untruths can create so many problems for people. So you have to work on the mind. You have to develop positivity in the young people of St. Lucia. You can't constantly tell them that they are bad and they are disciplined and they're shooting each other. You can't. You've got to work on their minds. And I want you, Mr. Chairman and staff, to make your institution a model. We can't be involved in an institution where the same old gossip, the same old rule, the same old things that come from where old people are. We can't. And you must stamp it out, Mr. Chairman, if it exists. You have to have an all-inclusive organization where people work in a congenial environment where people's minds are involved in the positive. We have to have an organization where we look at the glass always half full and never half empty. Too much in St. Lucia is half empty and not half full. Too much in St. Lucia is based on gossip and innuendo and I don't like this, I don't like that. We have to have, and your agency must lead by example. We have to have a positive institution. We have to have a positive set of people. The people that you employ, their mindsets will have to be positive mindsets. People who can be role models to the young people of St. Lucia. And Mr. Chairman, your agency can create a model of what youth empowerment can be, not only in St. Lucia, but in the region. You have the opportunity. This organization has the opportunity to be a model for the Caribbean. We've gone somewhere where, as Foster, the poet said, where angels fear to tread. We've gone somewhere where we decided that the government would put their money where their mouth is, and give an organization to young people for young people to run, to manage, and to empower themselves. So don't turn it into a regular run-of-the-mill office. No. And this is why it's also very important that what comes out of this agency can be used as a model for the other young people in the country who want to go into business. So you have to develop people who sometimes people think can't be developed. You know, sometimes we like to write off people. We like to write off people on what we think is their past. We like to write off people because they made a mistake. Young people will make mistakes. And this is why we expunged marijuana from criminal records of young people. Because a young man who is caught with a joint, his life cannot be ruined forever because you caught him with a joint. And this is one of the first things we did. We expunged the use of small. First of all, we said that if a guy has a conviction for use of small quantities of marijuana, you cannot hold it for him for his entire life. Entire life. We can't, so we expunged it. So when we are interviewing people for the Youth Economy Agency, we will not see, or even if we see that a guy went to jail for stick of marijuana, you don't have to send him to oblivion or to desolation because he was in prison for a stick of marijuana. We can't. We should not. We should not use these measures to manage young people's lives. We must give young people a chance to make a mistake and to allow them to redeem themselves from these errors. We have to. If we were living in the age that young people live in now, we would not be where we are today. The difference between us and them is we could take chances. We took chances. We took a lot of chances. Some of us got caught, some didn't, some survived. And the good thing is that those who survived made it. But we are too hard on the young people of this country. We're too hard on them. You understand? So I want your agency to be flexible. I want your agency to understand that you're dealing with young people and young people are restless. I don't want your agency to be a guy comes in for a grant and he has to come back after 3 months because you tell him to go and look for his grandfather's birth certificate. You understand? He'll get restless. He will get restless. You understand? He'll get restless. You've got to be flexible. And sometimes you have to take a chance. Because we've taken bigger chances in this country. We've taken chances that cost millions of dollars. We've taken chances. And some of it, we lost it. So I want to really thank the CDB. I want to thank Isaac and the staff. Sometimes I know I put a lot of pressure on them. Sometimes I know they thought I was a madman. But I'm happy that the CDB and its president, Jean, who is incidentally a solution, and Isaac and the staff and council, I'm very happy that they bought into that vision, they bought into that philosophy. The CDB has been with us for a long time, a very long time. The CDB has been doing developmental financing in the region for a long time. New organizations will come, but the CDB will remain. The CDB has proven itself in coming to the rescue of the region in times of need. It does not run away. It does not run away. And you must always remember our friends when things are bad. We must have a level of loyalty to institutions that remain with us when, after hurricanes, after the economic depression and economic downturn, the CDB remained with us. So I want us to thank officially the CDB and give them a round of applause. This week or this month, we've done many things with the CDB. We have signed an agreement or allowed 1,500 people to get, 5,000 people to get $1,500 each. And I make no bones about it. $1,500 each. The same $1,500 each that we speak of, that we spoke of, and they tried to use it as a political weapon against me. The time has arrived when 5,000 people will get $1,500 each. And again, because of the support and the understanding of the CDB. Yesterday, we disbursed, or we had the process or ceremony for disbursing the first tranche of the $10 million for the MSME market in St. Lucia, medium and small enterprises. Yesterday, we did the first disbursement. And these people, they're going to receive grants. Every $100, the government through the CDB will give them 70, free. And for the 30 that they're going to borrow, it will be repaid at 3% interest. So people who have qualified, and as I said yesterday, we need to make that process a little more seamless. They will receive 70% grant and 30% loan because of concessionary financing from the Caribbean, from the CDB. Never before. Today, we are giving young people grants of not more than $3,000 and loans of not more than $30,000 at 3% interest and grants free. So we are making, and as I said, we're giving $1,500 for people who've suffered from COVID. So we are doing it at two levels. One, economic interventions, and two, people-centered social interventions. So we're not developing the economy without developing the people. They must be hand in hand. So you are incentivizing people who want to go into business. Young people who want to go into business, you're helping them. Small and medium-sized entrepreneurs who want to go into business, you are helping them. But you're also helping the less privileged and people who cannot afford. You are giving them a startup. This is a philosophical position of the government, that you must create economic empowerment, but at the same time, you must assist those in need without political interference. And I know many times people get very edgy when you say without political interference. I have allowed both of these agencies. The Youth Economy Agency is a concept that I thought of. I have not been in that office except once. Not once. I've been there once for the opening. I have not returned. I've not been invited, but I have not returned. I've not returned. For the simple reason, I want it to happen according to meritocracy. I want the best ideas to come to the surface, and I want the best ideas to be funded. Because in the final analysis, when the people rise, when one person rises, they carry people with them. So it can be a matter of who you voted for or who you intend to vote for. I know about the business of voting. I know about it. I've been successful in that business. I mean, whether you like me or not, I'm a 6-star general. That's a fact. That's the thing that is undisputable. You understand? So I don't have to get involved in pretending. I'm going to pretend. You understand? I'm not a Johnny come late. I have to create all kind of thing about it. I mean, with the help of people, I've won 6 times. And if they help, I can win a few more times, which I might have to reconsider. You know. So I wanted us to be sure that this agency was apolitical. Same as the MSME grants. It's got to be apolitical. But we cannot discriminate against people. We have to be fair. It's got to be fairness. And this is why I have not got involved at all. I've not got involved at any level. I've allowed people to do what their job is and to be fair. And that's all I ask. Fairness. That's all I ask. I like people to be fair. And I want the agency to be fair to the young people of this country. So the times ahead are exciting. The CDB, we spoke in June, or in March or June, Isaac? March when? June. March. We spoke in March, and we signed in October. We approved in June, right? We spoke in March, we approved in June, and we signed in October. Give the CDB a round of applause to me, please. So we get in there as far as time is concerned. We get in there. And we have some conditions that we have to meet. I understand that they finalize the. I noticed that there are 2 conditions we have to meet. One, we must get prior approval of Parliament. We did that already last week before. And the executive agency appoints a chief executive officer. And I understand they are well in the process of appointing a chief executive officer. So after that, we should get a check. I've also noticed that the loan is going to be for 18 months. It will end where? The project implemented over an 18-month period commencing October 2023, so we're on target, and ending in March 2025. And the outcomes of that project, we are targeting 450 male and female young persons with average loans of EC 15,000, maximum 30,000, and grants to 2,916 male and female young persons with average grants of 3,000. Target maximum of $5,000 based on needs assessment. And the loan portion will be disbursed at an interest rate of 3%. And I think we have already disbursed 1,000 grants.
We have applications.
And how many? But you've done 250 grants. Right? So if you had 250, that's by the time the project is over, we should do about 3,000. We should have done 3,000.
That's fair.
No, but you've done. Huh? Yeah, right. No. I'm saying by the time we finish, you'll have done 3,000 grants. And that's going to be by the end of 2025. So we'll have to, so very early in 2025, we'll have to go to CDB for another $600 million. You're not committing, right? That's all right. All right. So we are on the right track. I think that nothing is perfect, but I think that from its inception, the agency has been fulfilling its mandate. I noticed that we are expanding our physical arrangements. Everything, there must be areas that will not be as smooth as people think. There's never been a perfect world. There's never been a perfect world, you know. Suddenly, people in St. Lucia, some people in St. Lucia expect a perfect world. St. Lucia has never been perfect. There's nowhere in the world that's perfect. Nowhere. It will never be perfect. There will always be things that can be improved. So let's not pretend that we're looking for perfection. We strive to be perfect. We strive to be perfect, but there's never been perfection. So there's going to be times when things could have worked better. Things could have worked better. Let me recognize the Minister for Equity. And I'm glad he came when he came after we spoke about grants. So there's never going to be a perfect world. So let's strive to improve our imperfections and get better. Let's try to look at the glass half full. Let's cut off the negativity. Let's cut off the prophets of doom and prophets of young people like this and crime and let's have a nation that's a lot more positive. Let's have a nation that strives to do well for everyone. Let's cut off the bickering and the misinformation and let us work together. Young people are being given an opportunity. All young people will not be able to get a grant. Or all young people will not be able to get a loan. But at least we are making an impact for some young people. And this is what is important. So when the prophets of doom and the naysayers tell you, one person did not get it, like somebody will not be approved, and that will look as if the whole world has ended. You expect that. You expect some person to come and say that they applied and they didn't get it. But everyone will not get it. Everyone never got it. Why are we pretending suddenly that things in Lucia were always very, very good? Why are we beginning to pretend that we always lived in a perfect country and this country became imperfect on the 26th of July 2021? Why are we behaving like that? This country did not get imperfect on the 26th of July 2021. It never was perfect. But from the 26th of July 2021, there have been very positive steps to improve it. And that is an example of the positive steps this morning. And there are several examples of these positive steps young people in the country have never before in the history of this country. There's never been an intervention, a direct intervention into the economic well-being. Never. There was NSDC, which was an intervention in helping young people to upskill themselves, upskill their skills. A very good initiative. There was Youth in Agriculture, which is something to give young people to go into agriculture. Good initiative. But there's never been an agency that was dedicated, a separate agency, to the empowerment of young people in this country. Never before. And we're very proud to be associated with that company. We're very proud to be associated with it. And we make no bones about it. This is our clarion call for the empowerment of young people. So, I want to thank everyone involved. I want to say that it's not perfect. It is not perfect. But it's a start in the right direction. So you, in the Youth Economy Agency, you have a special job to do. You can't be coming into work at 8 and leave at 4 and believe that's all. You have to be an example of enterprise. You have to be an example of positivity. You have to be an example of what young people in the country should strive to. When people come into your agency, they have to live there with a feeling of satisfaction Not a run-of-the-mill feeling of that you get when you go into any office. You have to be positive. You have to tell people no in a nice way. You have to treat everyone regardless of who the person is. And I'm very happy that we have special emphasis on differently able people. Because, I can speak from experience. My political opponents say I'm a stutterer. Of course. So I want when somebody comes in the agency stuttering, you treat him well. Don't write him off and say because he's stuttering that you write him off. Why can't I say go? Or when they come in crutches, you have to treat them well. You have to treat them well. Because if I had to listen to those who said I was a stutterer and to the leader of the opposition now who mocked me, I would not be where I am today. I would not be. So when somebody else is stuttering, I want you to treat him well because he too may become the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. So I say these things out of experience. I know what it is for people to marginalize you. I know what it is. I've been there. I know what it is for people to say, you can never be, and stress on the word never. I've been there. So I want you to give all young people an opportunity. I want you to give them an opportunity to become major businessmen. Somebody who walks into your organization in a few years can be a major businessman in St. Lucia and regionally. You must never judge a man by how he comes into you. So I don't want you to have any rules that say fellas can't come to you with their jeans underneath their that's how the guys dress. Accept them. I don't want no rules about the kakamif hat and kakamif cap and I don't want these rules in your agency. Do not have these stereotyped ways of judging people. Don't. You're an organization for young people. So I don't want you to have any dress code. Don't. Because when you do that, you are discouraging people who may have good ideas because you're judging a book by its cover and you're not running a church. We have dress codes in churches, I agree. But you can't have an agency for young people and you have signs and tell them they can't come in short pants. You can't. Or chase them because they come in short pants. These things you might tell me what does have to do with $6 million. That's a lot to do with $6 million. Because you have to create an environment where young people are, where they feel welcome. When after you speak to them in the first instance, you can say to them, when you come in next time, dress a little better. They'll understand that. But don't tell them you can't see them because they're not dressed well. Or go and change and come back. They will never come back. And you see, when we treat young people and when we tell them that they are less than what they really are, they turn on you, you know. We must not believe that we can just isolate people and put them aside and tell them because they're from that area, you can't talk to them, or where you come from, and because you live in this part of the country, I don't want to talk to you, and because you say you come from a certain part, I'm not coming there, I'm not going to them places, they'll turn on you. They'll find you. World history has shown that. So you have to be welcoming. And that's what you have to do in your agency. You cannot run a stereotype office. You can't run it. You're going to fail. You've got to run an office with discipline, with processes, but with flexibility. You can't expect everybody comes to you and tell you, good morning, sir. You won't get it. You get from some of them. You cannot believe that you can have regular or what you believe is right for young people to come to your agency. You'll get all types of young people. And you must accept all of them. You can't prejudge them. You should not prejudge them. Because if you do, you will not be reaching the people that you want to reach. The people who can afford, the people whose fathers have businesses and whose fathers left things to them, they're not coming to you for no $2,000. Their father will give them a check for $200,000. So the people who are coming to you, most of them, their fathers cannot give them a check for $2,000. And that's what you must understand. The people who are coming to you are the people who are in need, not those who can afford. So you can't have an institution that only handles people who can afford. That's why you have to be flexible. That's why you have to be flexible. So I'm looking for flexibility. But of course, you must make them responsible. They must pay back their loans. You must monitor them. I like what the chairman says. You don't give the guys the money in their hand. Because you give the guys the money in their hand, they'll take and go and buy jeans. Some of them will. So you buy the equipment for them. And I'm glad that you started having a monitoring and evaluation officer. So you can go in, you can put the staff in the agency will have to understand that they must go on the ground. They must put their 2 feet on the pavement and go and look at what they're doing. I don't want staff who stick in a that's not my job. That's your job. That's your job description. Do this, do that. We got to have a flexibility. We can have a job description staff. What are you heading for? And I know that sounds very, very, very radical. And this is why I have to restrain myself sometimes, because I want to go to the office and talk to people, and they tell me, no, you can't let the Prime Minister. So yes. We cannot have a job description organization. You have to have an organization where people know what they have to do. But you can't hold back a man or a woman who wants to say, CEO, I want to go and see what Jack is doing in his business. You can't tell him that's not your job. We can't. If we have a job description organization for young people, we're going to end up in the same way all these things end up. We have to have an organization that is flexible. You have to have people who have their talents, and if their talents can be shifted, they know what they have to do, but you can't have an organization that says that you can't do that because not in your job description. So everybody should be able to answer the phone. Everybody's supposed to be able to answer the phone. Everybody ought to be able to answer the phone. It can't be able to you have one person, their job is to answer the phone. Everybody ought to be able to answer the phone. Everybody's got to be flexible. We have to have that level of flexibility in the organization. We have to. We can't have an organization, that's not my job, that's your job, that's his job. If we do that, we are heading down the same track that all these organizations lead to. Frustration, discontent, etc. So I don't want you to be running an organization for me that is a job description organization. That's not my job, that's your job. Just sit there, I sit there, that's my place. Once you're there, you're in chaos. We're going to box ourselves in. We're going to box ourselves into a situation that we're going to be in trouble. This is not what we want for the young people of the country. You must have a disciplined organization, an organization of principle, an organization of laws and regulations, not a boxed-in, siloed organization that keeps people in their place. I make no bones about that either. You're going to make mistakes. But I want you, Chair and staff, I want you to be flexible. I want you to think modern. I want you to think using technology in the best way possible. I don't want you an organization of paper. Too much paper. Too much thing written down in paper. Paper. This morning I get up, today I do this. Too much of that. Too much of that. In your agency, you have to be flexible. You have to be agile. Today you change. Somebody must believe that if the managing director is not there, they can talk to somebody for the managing director. We have to have a philosophy. You have to have the organization with a philosophy. Everybody there must say the same thing. Everybody there must say the same thing. So if everybody should know what are the requirements for a loan, everybody should know what it should be. So when somebody comes in, come back because the loans officer is not there. Everybody's supposed to be able to say, you have to bring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Everybody in the organization should be able to know that and say that. It can't be a situation where come back because the business development officer is not there, or come back because the person you have to interview you not there. It can't be like that. The person you have to interview you will meet you. But you got to be, everybody there must be able to say the same thing. From the person who is the office cleaner. There's a new name for them these days. What's the new name? Custodian. So the custodian must be able to tell somebody who comes up the stairs and says, I came to look for a loan. The custodian must be able to say, when you're coming back, the loans office is not there. When you're coming back, bring a business plan, bring an ID, bring this, bring that. So you can't tell him, come back, because the loans officer who has to tell him that is not there. Everybody is supposed to be able to say that. You see? And this is what I want your agency to be like. I want your training to be multifaceted. I want everybody there to know what the organization is doing. So you can't tell somebody that's not your business, or that's not your job, or why are you interfering in that for? You can't have an organization, so that is not flexible and agile. And this was the basis of putting you away from the government bureaucracy. Because the government bureaucracy, by its nature, is not like that. And this is why I struggled and I fought to take you away from the government bureaucracy. So I don't want you to give me another civil service, all due respect. The civil service has rules and regulations which they have to deal with. But in your agency, you have to have flexibility, but you must have accountability. So I want you to deal with being accountable, but being flexible. We cannot be rigid and stereotyped and go according to the rules of fellas like Joker who learned business a long time ago. The times have changed. The times of Joker has gone. Joker spoke about vertical, about organizations vertical, this, that going up. Now organizations become horizontal. Of course, there must be responsibilities. Of course, there must be reporting. Of course, there must be structures and this and that. But you cannot be rigid. So I look forward to the continued work of the Youth Economy Agency. I expect the new managing director to be here. When? 1st of November? Yeah, to be here. And I expect everybody to give him their cooperation. And I want you to be a model. I don't want you to run this whole thing about that. I want you to run a model. I want you to run a model organization. I want an organization free of gossip and free of all kinds of. I want you to run an organization to serve young people. I want you to run an organization where young people feel comfortable. I want you to run an organization that will meet its mandate, which is turning hobbies into entrepreneurship and skills into business. That must be the buzzword of your organization. So if a man comes with what you think is a hobby, try your best to see you can turn it into an entrepreneurship, into a venture, a business venture, no matter what it may be. Don't discriminate against anybody. Talk to everybody. And let's see if our young people can move together. Thank you very much.
To close us out this morning, it is my pleasure to introduce one of our grant recipients, one of our trainees, a young lady. I think we can justifiably say that we are very proud of what she has been able to accomplish, and we look forward to her accomplishing a great deal more going forward. From the lovely community of Denry, digital creator, Ms. Cassie Emmanuel.
you so much, Mr. Finisterre. Protocol having been established, good morning to all. When invited to such occasion, it brings me great joy. Not only because I am tasked to speak, of course I love to do that, however, it's because of the opportunity to be in the presence of some of you who are and continue to be instrumental to the youth development in St. Lucia. My name is Cassie Manuel, and I am the manager and founder of Adright Media, and one of the over 200 business owners supported by the Youth Economy Agency. To show and speak of our appreciation to the people who have made today possible is a great task. To you, everyone in here today who remain committed to the pivotal roles you play in making this momentous occasion a success, days like this a reality, and to allow visions to become possible, thank you. Firstly, allow me this chance to formally thank our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip G. Pierre, for his presence and addressing us today. We understand how much of a challenge it can be to be everywhere at once, but you are here. This is a testament to your continued support and interest in the youth empowerment and the youth self-sustainability of the young entrepreneurs in St. Lucia. And this, Mr. Prime Minister, is paramount to the mandate of the YEA and the driving force to the success stories the agency continues to create. Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Dr. Virginia Poyet, Minister for Equity, Honorable Joachim Henry, thank you for being here. We are grateful. Mr. Isaac Solomon, you delivered some remarkable words, including your Creole. So this will resonate with the various brand ambassadors here today, and we appreciate you. The Caribbean Development Bank continues to support our aspirations, dreams, and visions, and that will never go unnoticed. Thank you for your valuable contribution, and we appreciate it. Mr. Thomas Leos, Mr. Nikolai Lancico, and the other members of the board of directors who are the pillars at the YEA, alongside the masterminds who most of us have worked with, Mr. Accountant, Mr. Kendall Emmanuel, Ms. Janelle Montesi, Mr. Terry Finisterre, and company. Thank you for all that you do. Attendees and special guests, I would be failing in my duties if I did not thank you as well. We are just as grateful to have you here to be part of another milestone. On behalf of the Youth Economy Agency, I wish to express my heartfelt appreciation. The Office of the Prime Minister and staff who also made today possible, thank you. This is a start from today. From now, it's uphill. Safeguard your suits, your lovely outfits, tuxedos, because we are about to gear up for some more occasions just like these. This means more invitations, more of the Prime Minister speaking from his heart, and more success stories. Many of you who I did not personally thank for your presence, please rest assured it has not gone unnoticed. We can do this all day, but let's be honest. What will we leave for the next occasion? Thank you once more, and everyone have an amazing day.